Thanks everyone for joining us this morning, and welcome to our information session about the Business Growth Program. So SSRIA developed this program in partnership with Go Productivity and Tech Edmonton, who will also be speaking with you this morning about this new opportunity. So before we get started, I just want to let everyone know, and as you probably just heard, I am recording the session so that we can share it out afterwards. And the slide deck will also be shared. So if you could please keep yourselves muted during the presentation, that will help keep the presentation portion of today's webinar distraction-free. It also might be good if you don't want to be your face on the recording, you may just want to turn your video off if you do have your video on right now. We will have time at the end of the presentation for questions. I don't know if I already just said that, but what I'll start by doing is, just because we have some new people joining us today, I'll just start off by telling you a little bit about SSRIA and why we're offering the Business Growth Program. So SSRIA stands for Smart, Sustainable, Resilient Infrastructure Association. We are a not-for-profit industry association that is working to foster collaborative partnerships throughout industry to reduce building energy consumption and the related greenhouse gas emissions. We believe that by doing so, the AEC industry in Alberta will be able to remain competitive and continue to be a strong economic driver for the province, as well as really position Canada as a global leader in innovative design and construction. Our main program that we are implementing in order to meet those objectives is the Green Building Technology Network. You may have recently heard about a funding announcement from Western Economic Diversification for Alberta's building industry. And this is the program that funding is going to, along with matching funding from Alberta Innovates. So the GBTN model was really developed as a path to market transformation for creating solutions that will reduce energy consumption and GHG emissions. And it really all starts with collaboration. So through collaboration, we have teams that will represent various fields within the industry that will be working together, looking for new partnership opportunities, and putting together these innovative solutions that will kind of that goes into the next section here, the testbed projects. To test out those solutions and really validate whether it be their technology, product, or processes that have been developed. And this is to gather and share the real results so that we can continue to move those solutions forward. The Business Growth Program I'll just skip over for now because that will be the kind of main component of this session. But then the other piece of, or call it the other pillar even of this, is the future skills. And future skills is really intended to prepare our existing and future workforce to work with any of these new technologies, products, or processes that are identified through the testbed projects. From the business growth side of things, the idea is to, we've tested out these great solutions. Now we need to support the businesses and the solution makers or the innovators in really preparing them for increased demand and market expansion so that we can get to that market transformation. So as I mentioned, this program was developed and delivered in partnership with Go Productivity and Tech Edmonton, who I will be introducing shortly. But as far as benefits are for the program is really to take advantage of a very valuable expertise at a subsidized rate specifically for SSRIA members. So that businesses can improve the potential success of their testbed projects while validating their solutions, but also to support their growth and expansion in a very successful manner. If it's identified as a need, there's also support in finding investors, again, to help with growth. On the eligibility front, So just to be clear, Tech Edmonton and Go Productivity do offer these types of services outside of SRIA, but for our program specifically, you do need to be a member to be eligible for that subsidized rate. The program is really intended to align with our objectives. We're looking for businesses that have a product or service that is intended to reduce energy use and greenhouse gas emissions of buildings, as well as businesses who are looking for opportunity to be part of a SRIA test bed project so that they can then validate their products or technologies. And then, of course, while the service is subsidized, businesses are still expected to show their commitment to the process and really their own growth by covering 20% of the associated fees. So there is a bit of an investment there. However, the value likely far exceeds what that cost is. So for the process itself, because it really is a customized service that will be dependent on each company's needs. It will really start off with an introductory meeting with both of our partners, so we can learn more about your company and your needs, and then define kind of what service options or offerings work best for you. We are putting together or offering, I guess, the service in cohorts. It doesn't mean that you'll be working with other companies. It just means that just from a resourcing perspective with our partners, that the companies will be slotted in based on these cohorts. So our first cohort is looking to start November 1st. So if you, after the session, if you have any more questions, we're open to hearing those as well. But if you're interested, do reach out prior to that November 1st deadline. So the program itself has been divided into 3 streams. So for the first 2 streams, that's where the SRIA is covering up to that 80% of the fees. And those streams are really focused on the strategic but accelerated growth of the companies. And there is also a 3rd stream which is focused on the productivity and ultimately profitability of the companies. So that's the fees for the stream 3 are fully the responsibility of the company taking part in that particular stream. So that's as much detail as I'm going to get into right now, as we have our, I'll call them our experts on business growth, really here to talk to you more about each stream. So we're going to start off with Caitlin Lopez from Go Productivity. She is a productivity advisor with Go, and is a manufacturing engineer who specializes in quality and process improvements and project management. She received her Bachelor of Science from the University of Calgary with a major in manufacturing engineering in 2011, and has been with Go Productivity for over 5 years. And through her current role is providing coaching services and technical support for clients. Caitlin has experience with new product implementations, large manufacturing relayout projects, and process improvement projects targeting and proving real savings. So with that, Caitlin, I will pass it on to you and give you just remote control so you can control the presentation.
Thanks so much, Pam. It's a very nice introduction. And while you were talking, thanks for the introduction. We didn't have any new people join, so I think we've got everyone there.
Perfect. Perfect.
And I'd like to encourage anyone to, if you're something you're thinking about or something you want to ask a question about while we're presenting, please feel free to use the chat function, and we will either answer it, read it right away, or at the end of the session during the questions period. All right, so hopefully I can get this thing to work. There it goes. So just a second about myself and Go Productivity. I also have my wonderful colleague Dawn back with me here today. And we are a not-for-profit organization, and we've had a program in place for the last 6 years that we thought would be, it's already in a really good state that could be beneficial to SSRIA members. So that's why we wanted to partner with SSRIA, SRIA, and be able to kind of provide the facilitating and the teaching when it comes to trying to get teams together to work on an effective roadmap. But ideally, we want you guys to be building towards commercial success. You might already experiencing commercial success, but then maybe you're feeling a little bit like you're struggling trying to scale up efficiently, and maybe some of your processes are lacking definition. And that is the perfect situation to be in for our particular program that we've got refined to a T. But the idea is that we can help you continually demonstrate project excellence. Like I like to say, hit this ball out of the park and every other ball out of the park coming up. So there's a really good opportunity for us to be able to support you in that way. I think I need to use the arrow here. But I just wanted to cover that, we do a little bit of a different approach. You're going to have access to excellent consultants through Tech Ed. And then what we would like to add for our side of the value proposition is being the facilitators and teachers for your team to build internal capability to grow your business and be more defined and efficient going forward. But kind of what's behind all of that is our methodology of assessment, roadmap coaching, but also Lean Six Sigma. So we do take that approach. The 6 key topic areas that we do focus on are in front of you right now. We do like to work with growth potential type organizations and progressive leaders that are looking to do a little bit of time on their business to get it to where they want it to be, have their team involved. Those are the kinds of people we want to work with. The summary of the type of organizations that we work with is shown in an infographic in front of you now. So usually growing organizations, this is a survey from 2018-2019. So I may do another survey for 2020-2021. So we'll see how it is over the last few years. But the idea is if you were to look at a couple of these elements, you can see they're focused on improving on-time and delivery and expanding to new markets. And also just a little bit on our program. So we have an approach, I see someone's arrived, assessment, roadmap, and coaching. And the idea is that we get the team to focus on building a prescriptive roadmap towards the goals that you have for the organization for growth. And then we get them working on specific projects. And some of these examples below are specific projects that they worked on and we're able to measure real results on. Just a second. There goes. What's involved? Okay. So the 3 streams that Pam had introduced are colored here and slightly in a different visual format so you can understand, but a little bit more highlighted on our stream 1, which is kind of like the first part. So you can start off with an initial assessment, get some baseline company metrics, productivity assessment tool that we have to kind of find out in those 6 key pillars where are your areas of strength and where can we magnify that and where are the areas where you want to improve. And we work towards some road mapping in workshops together with you and your team to build a real plan going forward. So you want to get a real game plan here that involves maybe potential investments, high-level strategy, but also some of the ways to engage your people more, how to grow their skills, and then focus on implementation towards measurable success. So that's stream 1. And then stream 2 is like when you find out you really need specific skill sets, let's say in technology implementation, then you can go and get custom coaching through stream 2 with Tech Ed. And then also with stream 3, it's like, okay, we actually really need to dive into this one problem in our business that really needs a lot of support. You have access to myself and also our network of manufacturing engineers and people with expertise in Lean Six Sigma and data analytics that can help you with that. So those are the core main elements that we've got. And I just wanted to spend just a minute on showing what that might look like. So we did this with a modular construction firm, and they kind of said, okay, they're working towards a formal structure, but they wanted to really improve on their innovation and their ability to grow and be profitable going forward. So they came up with a goal for themselves I think this is about 200% growth. So 400 homes they want to be building every year by 2023. So they developed the goal and the strategy on how to get there. They developed a bunch of ideas. And then when it came to the team and involving the team, they got them working on the first process that was kind of giving them the biggest headache. And then they also found that they really needed some leadership support. So one of the ideas that came out of the roadmap is that they developed several key processes that really needed some refining and some innovation. And so they prioritized and selected from these four. They started off with their customer file was not being useful. It was, it was such a pain. They had to move it and copy it all over the place. So they really wanted to simplify it, make it a concise document, get the sales team kind of working on that. And they had some good success on that. And the idea is that you start small, crush it, and then move on to the next one. So this is an example of an innovation program design for that particular project. And so they would be encouraged to develop their own process and ways that would be sustainable going forward in the business, like how to build this going forward, how to engage the people more, getting their ideas through, nurturing them into implementation and measured success. That's the key. And making sure it doesn't get buried the next day. Also, they really identified that their leadership team needed a bit of support going forward. So they defined some key empowerment levels, but then they also did weekly leadership coaching. So this is an example of the results that they were able to collect from the one project. So they were able to do about 15% reduced processing time on that one project when they very first started. And then they started doing project after project after that on improving their business. And then for the year wide, they were able to see about a 16% savings, which is about $1 million for them. And that's it for me. So I'd love to answer any questions after the next section.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Caitlin. And with that, I will, so Rick, I'll be passing on remote control to yourself. So Rick has been part of the Tech Edmonton team since 2014. In his role as an executive in residence, Rick mentors and coaches leadership teams, as well as plans and leads in business development for tech clients. Rick is a professional engineer, business consultant, and project management consultant with 30 plus years focused in the tech development and company growth environment. He has held several executive roles for companies, including president, VP business development, general manager, and CFO. And so Rick will talk to you a little bit more about the Stream 2 services that Tech Edmonton is providing.
Thank you very much, Pam. First of all, can you hear me okay?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Caitlin, for the compliment toward Tech Edmonton that you expressed along the way. Thank you for that. Before I get started, I would also like to acknowledge my comrade in arms, Daryl Petrus, who's also on the call. He's Vice President of Business Development in our organization at Tech Edmonton. So between the two of us, if you've got some further interest in tech, we'd be happy to chat with you. So for this morning, we've been asked to speak a little bit about Tech Edmonton and what it's about generally, and then to give you an example of the sort of things that we might be able to do for the SSRIA Business Growth Program. And so the example that Pam suggested was that we walked through very quickly how we might help a group secure new investment. So those are the two pieces that you'll see in the next short few minutes. Some of you may know that Tech Edmonton is a joint venture started in the 2006-2008 timeframe, joint venture between the City of Edmonton through the Edmonton Economic Development Organization and the University of Alberta. So we have services that aim toward the university. We have services that aim toward small and medium enterprises across the province. We have been as many as 70 people in size. We're probably half of that, or maybe 60% of that at the moment. It goes up and down based on services and opportunities and other factors. So across that, we have quite a few different capabilities, not only through what we have for staff resources, but also our network of contractors and associates. So let me see if I can hit the button here and see if that moves. Yes. So based on the history, you could expect that we do lots of things with researchers and in the research community. In particular, help them to start companies, protect their intellectual property, grow the businesses, help them find financing, that sort of thing. We work with entrepreneurs in teaching skills related to operating a business and growing a business. I've got lots of initiatives that are built around skill development for individuals. We work for the innovation community broadly, and that's almost code for the public sector organizations, governments, institutions, not-for-profit entities that are trying to move the needle in innovation. And I suppose SSRIA represents an organization like that in this case. But the main piece of our business, frankly, is working with technology companies. What we mean by that is those that are interested in using technology or in creating technology-intensive products and services and moving them into the marketplace. We work a lot with small to medium enterprises, for sure, but we also work with large public companies and in moving their agendas forward. And so businesses like Dynalife and Merck and certainly some of the pharmaceutical industry represent our clients as well. So what we offer, in a nutshell, I didn't want to put up a laundry list of business consulting services, but you might think of us as a consulting company that can offer everything you might expect from a management consulting organization that you may be familiar with. And in addition, we do more one-on-one or one-on small group customized coaching of leadership teams. And of course, that's partly why we've been invited to be involved in this initiative. A couple of things that you wouldn't expect that we would do, and may or may not have any relevance in your particular case, is we're certainly deep in being able to offer advice on intellectual property protection and strategy, and that may be important for you and your test bed products and services to be able to secure the appropriate intellectual property protection for your innovations. We can certainly help guide you through that. And also, in some cases, you may have some regulatory issues to have to work through because your product or service, well, it'll be product more likely, may have some regulatory environment that it's got to navigate. And we do quite a bit of that work as well, which is something that's sets us apart from others. So the two simple messages, I think, for reflecting on what Tech Edmonton is and represents to the Business Growth Program is frankly, as Pam has indicated, that subject to their approval and their sense of what's in scope, anything that Tech does or all of its services in principle are available to Business Growth Program members, if you like. It just comes down to the sense that it fits into the mandate of what the program's about. And you can also think of notionally when you're looking for help that between Go Productivity and Tech Edmonton, our services complement each other, overlap in some respects, but between the two, we should be able to, we're pretty confident, frankly, that we can help you in most any dimension of moving your business forward or moving your technology forward that you're interested to demonstrate in testbed projects. So with that, I just just to wrap up with the example that was suggested for us. Some things that we do in a variety of industries is we help companies prepare themselves for private investment. And so we were asked, so how do you go about doing that? Well, for those, there may be one or two on the call that are familiar with this, with tech or generally the process, but it's not rocket surgery, as they say, but it's something that you need to be careful and work through in a sensible way, or you can get yourself on a lot of grief and waste a lot of time. So the steps are over the next two slides, just to speak to very, very briefly. If we start down this track, the first thing we do is certainly talk to the company, understand their situation, understand their strengths and weaknesses, understand really why they want to take on outside investment or further investment, and understand the rationale for the dollar amounts that they've set. And there may be some conversation there about changing that picture and really adjusting that direction for good reasons. The next piece is we'll probably do a deeper dive in understanding the capability of the company, and frankly understanding its readiness to take on investment. And readiness is examined in a variety of ways. Be surprised people don't have shareholder agreements in place. They don't understand the proper valuation of their business. They don't understand what the expectations of an investor would be to do due diligence and those sorts of things. So we work through that, explain what would be required to support the journey once a notionally interested investor party appears on the horizon. And most of the times, those two steps indicate a variety of gaps that in readiness for the organization. So we work with our client to fill those gaps in whatever way, shape, or form. Might even be that their business plan is in poor shape, or they really ought to do some market research to strengthen their sales forecasts so that they don't get attacked by due diligence and that sort of thing. Once that readiness is there, we work with the client to build what's in the business called an investor pitch. And so that's essentially a variety of communications that are aimed at investor prospects to inform them of the opportunity with your company and essentially what you're asking for in terms of their investor involvement. In support of that, we also do work with the company leadership to really coach them on delivering their investor pitch. It's a fairly intensive exercise. It's come to be the expectation that it's relatively polished. You're going to get questions from a variety of directions, and frankly, it's important that you demonstrate you understand your business, that you've got a variety of all the issues covered that will be examined more deeply in the due diligence stage. Once those things are in place, we've progressed this far along, then the next phase is really in engaging investors. And we help with that through our networks of angel investors, of venture capital, of private investors that have specific interests and sort of a flavor of an investment portfolio. Help to do those introductions or drive you into the networks that where those investor groups are meeting and are listening to investment proposals. So let's say at that point you have some investors with some reasonable interest, then we will support you during that process of due diligence from the investor, and ultimately in all the other things that arise when you're you're actually doing an investment closing. So in a nutshell, that's kind of how that goes. And I sure hope that some of you on the call are in the sort of in the space of sufficient growth, that you're seeking outside investments, and we'd love to help you if the opportunity arises. So Pam, with that, I think that's my few slides, and I'd leave you with simply the notion, the elevator takeaway, if you like, that we flexibly deliver custom coaching and management services to business leaders in all types of businesses. Intention is to accelerate your success.
Perfect.
I'll leave it at that and pass it back to you.
Great. Thanks so much, Rick, for that run through. And that does actually bring us through to the end of our presentation.